mule and donkey friends. Dave here. I hope you're having a great day. I am coming to you from Denver, Colorado. For those of you who don't know, I spent a lot of my youth involved in church, and I was actually a full-time vocational pastor for a number of years, and today I get to continue that work. And right now we are in Colorado with a group of 12 lead pastors from around the world. That's right. We've got 11 from the United States and we've got one from Taiwan, so we've gone international. So that's where I am this week, but that doesn't mean that you're without a program. Last Wednesday we had our program, No More Guessing, and it was just a great time of answering questions, getting people pointed in the right direction so they don't have to be guessing about what they need to do. They know where they need to go, and that gives way to more questions. And we released a brand new video, Steve's first instructional video in the last several years, and we've got it on special right now. So watch today's program. You'll learn all about how to get a special deal on the brand new video that we're going to be officially launching very soon, and even details on how you can get it for free. Enjoy, and we'll see y'all soon. It is time for No More Guessing, how to win with your mule or donkey. Steve, we've got a lot of our friends here tonight because they want to win. They want to win with their mule or donkey. They don't want to go out there and play pin the tail on the donkey, blindfolded, pun intended. They want to go out there and want to say, mule, it's my way. You're going to do things my way. You're going to do things the way I tell you to do it. And we're going to have a good relationship. And when you, the herd leader, gets better, everything gets better. When you are happy, your mule is happy. And that's what we want you to do tonight. I sure am glad that you are here. My name's Dave, and this is Steve Edwards. And for the next 60 minutes, we are going to teach you how to win with your mule or donkey. Steve, how are you doing?
Well, by golly, we got some big black clouds coming in here. And if the rain comes down, I'm going to be doing real good. I've got a sign out by my gate. And it says, a new mule in a good rain is always welcome. There we are.
Bring the rain. We're going to get rid of that mule and donkey pain. You like how I did that right there?
Oh, you're a poet and don't know it.
I'm a poet and I don't know it. I've got a real fun thing that I'm going to share with y'all tonight. We're announcing something for the very first time, announcing something that we haven't had in the last several years. So don't leave. Hang in there with us because you're going to be excited. If you are a Steve Edwards fan, you're going to be excited. Folks, tonight we are doing everything that we can to help you win with your mule or with your donkey. And I just want you to know that if this is the first time you have ever hung out with us, you are in good hands. First and foremost, we've got lots of our friends here tonight, and I just want to ask you, if you are watching and you have been helped by Steve Edwards, Queen Valley Mule Ranch, the tack, the saddles, whatever, would you just please put in the comment section real quick for our new friends what has been most helpful to you? I want them to know that they can trust what we're bringing them tonight, because I know we've got some folks here who are brand new, maybe in the last month, maybe in the last 2 months. And I also want to tell you folks that on our website, muleranch.com, we have a section all dedicated towards reviews. Folks who have sent in messages saying thank you for some of the information that we've shared. So I don't want to just talk at you. I want you to know that we have worked hard to bring you something that's going to help you get results. So right there, I put it in the chat. You can go check it out, and folks are going to share in the comments what has been most helpful. And so right off the bat, we want to let you know that you're in good hands. The second thing is I want to tell you that everything we are going to be talking about tonight, I know there's a part of you that wants to see it happen in real life. And that's going to be available to you come end of September. And so we're going to announce Steve's next appearance a little bit later on in the program. I'll give you a hint. It's in the United States, and I'll do you one better. It's in Tennessee. So we're going to be announcing a little bit later on where Steve's going to be, and everything that we talk about tonight, you can see him do in real life, in person, and get that hands-on experience that you're looking for. So we'll be talking about that. And then the final thing is tonight we are pointing you in the right direction. My goal, Steve's goal, our goal here for tonight is that you wouldn't be guessing which direction to go to get results. We would point you in the right direction. And the best thing about heading in the right direction is that gives way to being able to ask informed questions, not throwing things up at the wall, not like I said, playing pin the tail on the donkey, just kind of guessing and hoping. No, we're going to point you in the way that you should go, and then you can begin asking more informed questions so that finally you can say, Mule, this is the way we're going to do it. Donkey, you're going to do it my way. Life ain't Burger King. You can't have it your way. That's our hope for tonight. So I don't want you to think that in 60 minutes you're going to become the mule master. What I want you to believe is that in 60 minutes you can get on the path to become your mule's master, your mule, your donkey's herd leader. So tonight, everything kicks off with a primer. We're going to start with the most important thing about all of the subjects we're going to get in tonight. We had about 150 questions come in. We're not going to be able to answer all of them, but I took all of those questions and I grouped them together into, I think it is 6 or 7 categories. And Steve, when I looked at these categories, I thought, goodness, every single one of these needs something. They all have something in common, and that is timing. Steve, would you talk about timing and how the things that we're getting into tonight, timing is one of the most essential skills that someone can develop, and why? Go ahead and start us off with that.
You're driving your car down the road, and all of a sudden you hear the rumble strip on the right-hand side. Guess what? You looked off to the left, your car then went off to the right, and the rumble strip. Okay, now you hear the rumble strip on the left-hand side. You look to the right, and rum. So what happened? What happened was you took your mind off of the vehicle for a split second, and the vehicle went where you were opposite of what you were looking. Almost the same thing is going to happen with your mule. It's going to be your timing. Okay, now I'm going to tell you at the Grand Canyon, tough cut place to ride. Here's one mule in behind the other, and they all go down through that canyon, and they go down and come back up safe. Why is that? Because it's not the rider. Because the mule is one behind the other, they follow each other naturally. The rider, the biggest problem with the rider is their timing. They do not have the timing. Their eye and their hand matching eyes and feet. Okay, so here's the deal. When it comes to riding, let me just give you a little example. I used to take my mules to my clinics, and I would demonstrate and show people, see, the mule would do everything I asked him to do. People would say, well, can you do this? Yeah, here it is. Can you do that? Yeah, can you do that? Picking up feet, everything. And then I'd say to the audience, who out there has been riding 20 years? Hands fly up everywhere. Come down here and ride this mule. Person come down and ride this mule. 10 minutes later, it looked like that mule wasn't even trained. What happened? It was the communication between the mule and the rider. The hands are really important. One of the best things you can do for your mule and your donkey is to get the come-along rope on it, because it communicates to the nose and the bottom of the chin and behind the pole. And if that rope on the nose moves up or down too much, guess what? Your hand was not timed with the mule's head. You're trying to look at the big picture, make it small. If a mule or a donkey can move a fly, then why are you using so much pressure? Okay, start small. Be standing in front of your mule. If the mule looks off to the left, bump it straight. If it looks off to the right, bump it straight. Notice I said only start with the nose. 3 to the left, 3 to the right, we stop. The most important thing you can do is teach your mule to stand still. And you start with small movements. So it's got to be your timing, okay? Everything that happens with a mule or a donkey, get ready for this. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's people's fault. Because you see, we are a predator. They are a prey animal. And when it comes down to predator and prey, we don't get along, because we eat meat and they eat hay, you see? Okay? So we have to find a way to do that. And we have to find a way to do that by making them comfortable, uncomfortable, ask, tell, demand. You learn those 5 things, and you'll be a good communicator to your mule and donkey. So, all right, here we go. We got some good stuff. Dave's going to ask away, and we're going to whack it.
We're going to, open up this gate and let me out of here, Steve says. So one of the most frequently asked questions that we've got, folks saying, hey, I don't want to be guessing. I want to know. Had to do with the come along rope. And I got good news and I got bad news. I'm going to start with the bad news first because I think you're really going to like the good news. The bad news is we do not have enough time tonight to cover the come along rope. We just don't. It is such an essential training tool. It is so simple, yet there are so many different things that you can do and apply it with that I have put together. Maybe some of you have seen this. I have put together what we are calling the Come Along Rope Masterclass. And so we are going to give that away to you tonight, the Come Along Rope Masterclass. I just put a link in the chat. I want you to take everything that we talk about tonight, and I want you to watch the Come Along Rope Masterclass, because so much of what you're going to hear tonight, you're going to need the timing with the come along rope on the nose to communicate what you're looking for, okay? To communicate what you want that mule, what you want that donkey to know. Now, you might be asking, okay, Dave, that's great. Come along rope, is that good for the mule or is that good for the donkey? Tonight, when we say mule, hear us say donkey. When we say donkey, hear us say mule. What works for the mule is going to work for the donkey, and if there's an instance where it's a little bit nuanced or it doesn't work the same way, we'll speak up. But I don't want you to think tonight that, oh, they're talking mule, I have a donkey, that's not for me. No, what you'll see in the Come Along Rope Masterclass, and what you'll hear tonight is good for the mule and good for the donkey. So we are going from Come Along Rope, get that masterclass, it's free for you to watch. The link is right there. And we're going to go to the most frequently asked question that we got over the last 2 weeks. Steve, folks want to know, I don't want to guess when it comes to hard to catch. Catching is one thing, but I think what they're really looking for, Steve, is a connection with their mule or donkey. They got this animal that's hard to catch, and that's one thing. But when you feel like that animal's running away from you, won't let you get close, it just feels not only are you not getting them, but it's discouraging. So what is the cause of hard to catch? And then we'll get to the fix.
So the cause for the hard to catch is we've abused our mule. That's what everybody thinks. He's been abused. So this is how you abuse him. You approach the nose. You don't approach the nose. When you see 2 equine approaching the nose together, what happens? Whee! I'm the biggest. Whee! No, I'm the boss. Whee! No, I don't want to do it. You hear that? They approach the nose. That's when trouble begins. Always approach the shoulder. The shoulder is neutral zone. You step 1 step to the right, 1 foot to the right, the hip moves forward, the horse, the mule, the donkey goes forward. You're in the shoulder. You step to the left. You go toward the nose will go away from you and leave. Do you see what happens? What happens is when people approach the nose and they don't approach the neutral zone, they're actually telling the mule to leave. So what's happening? Okay, if the mule is looking at you, the mule is saying, come on, visiting hours are on. But if the mule is not looking at you, then you don't go toward that mule's nose. You go toward his shoulder. Because you go toward his shoulder, he's going to look over at you because you're going toward his shoulder. When he looks over at you, stop. Take 1 little tiny step toward the nose. If he turns away, stop. Go back toward the shoulder again. Always approach the shoulder. You want to be the herd leader. You want to be the friend. You approach the shoulder. You want to get into a fight. You want to have a disagreement, you go to the nose. So they've been abused in this way, in that they have been going to the animal incorrectly. Okay? Now, that's your communication. Squared shouldered, looking straight ahead. If you look down and look back up to the animal, guess what you just did? You just asked for permission to come into their herd. If a new mule, a new donkey wants to come into the herd, they ask for permission by the herd leader. They duck their head, they lick their lips, they duck their head, they lick their lips. They're saying, can I please come into the herd? When you look down, you just said, can I come into your herd? You now gave them the herd leadership. But if you look straight ahead, here's my shoulder, here's my nose, here's my eye. My right eye on the left-hand side of the mule. So looking from behind the mule, the left-hand side is called the near side. The right-hand side is called the off side. Okay? So on the near side, as I'm looking, I look one eye, my right eye, to the shoulder, my left eye to the eye. And as I'm walking, I'm watching. If the mule looks away, I stop. What people tend to do is they keep on going. If you keep on going, what did you just do? You told the mule to leave because the mule looked this way. He's looking at you like the herd leader saying, what do you want? And he looks this way. You keep on going. You told him to leave. So how to get hard to catch? We taught him. How to get hard to catch? Here's the next part. That's our communication, all right? We have them out in a pasture, or we have them out in a big lot. Don't do that. When you have a new mule come home, you put that mule in a 20 by 20 stall, and that's where he stays. If you come to my ranch, you'll see 20 10 by 20 stalls. Each mule is in its own stall. Oh, Steve, that's cruel. Oh, no. My wife's mule died at 28 years old. We had her for 26 years. She spent 26 years in a 20 by 20 stall. That was my wife's mule. We had some other mules that was our own personal mules, some Shire mules, Tom and Katie. They stayed in a 20 by 20 stall. When you have a 20 by 20 stall, you can control them easier. You feed them when you want to feed them. You water them when you want to water them. That's when they depend upon you. They don't need you when they're out in the pasture. They got their buddies, they got their water, their feed. They don't need you. But if you have them confined in a 20 by 20 stall, they will start complying. Yes, they'll walk up and down the rails and you'll think they're never going to stop. They will. They will start relaxing. Okay. Now I'll give you one last example before we go on. And that is when I was teaching at Pierce College in LA, we had 20 mules and donkeys there. All right. For Thanksgiving, everybody wanted to turn their mules and donkeys out in this 10-acre pasture. Nothing out there really, but they wanted to run and play. I said, don't do that. If you do that, you're going to end up being backwards on your training. It'll back you up. Oh, no, we want a number. Okay, go ahead. They did. It took the average person over 10 days to get back to where they were before they left for the training for Thanksgiving. They got 10 days behind. Some of the animals were even longer because they were even more buddy sour, barn sour. Okay? So it doesn't work, folks. If you really want to train, you really want to have an animal you want, you must have them in a 20 by 20 stall. If you can't get them in a 20 by 20 stall, you're wasting your time. You're completely wasting your time because you're going to train a little bit, turn them out, train a little bit, turn them out, you're going to lose. They must be in a 20 by 20 stall. Okay? That's how you fix the hard to catch mule.
Awesome. So folks, if this was your category of question, if you wanted to know, how do I fix the hard to catch mule? In the chat, I just put a link to our series. It's free. It's on YouTube. It's called Establishing Leadership. And this shows a husband and wife couple doing ground foundation training work, but it all begins with them trying to catch the animal in that 10 by 20 stall. So if you want to dive deeper, that's where you need to go. The next thing that we're going to talk about tonight, we talked about hard to catch. Now we are talking about buddy and barn sour, and it creates all sorts of problems. Steve, would you define for us what is buddy sour or barn sour? tell us what's the cause, and then reveal to us the place we can begin to fix it.
Okay, so buddy sour, barn sour is two different things. It's two different things. Buddy sour is natural. The mule wants to be with another mule. The donkey wants to be with another donkey. They are both prey animals, and four eyes together can see the predators a lot easier. So when they have a friend and they're out together and this sort of thing, they're having a happy time like being with your friends. You cannot train or fix that. Some are more body sour than others, and some are so subservient to a horse that they won't do nothing for you because the horse is there. Oh, I got to have the horse. Or I've had people say, I got a goat to give them a pasture buddy. No. Now they can't go anywhere without that goat. Or some people bought a Shetland pony. Now they can't go anywhere without that Shetland pony. Folks, don't do that. You be the herd leader. You be the herd leader. Without that herd leadership, you will not get anywhere. And you have to learn to ask, tell, demand. You have to learn comfortable, uncomfortable. Okay? You have to learn that. When you learn that, that's no different language than the herd animal lays down on his animal, on his rest of its herd. Okay? They ask by pinning their ears. Don't come no closer. This is another animal coming in. They tail by pinning their ears, swishing their tail, and they demand by spitting and kicking. So in other words, guess what you may have to do? No, not kick him, but you may have to be tougher on that come-along rope. You may have to be tougher on the spur. You may have to be tougher on the bridle. But don't think, oh, Fluffy's going to get mad at me and won't have nothing. No. If you don't, you're not going to be the herd leader, and Fluffy will have the upper hand. Period. Okay? You are not going to change that. What is going to help you is this. Put them each in a 20 by 20 stall. If you turn them out in a pasture, even if you only do it for a few hours, you are giving them what they want, and that is to be with their buddies. Okay? You ain't going to change it, but it's going to get worse. I have seen it so bad that when the person goes out to get their animals, they all take off running, and it takes them days to catch them. Now, try to do that when you're out camping somewhere and you're trying to catch your animals because they got loose. Yeah, not good. Okay? You want to have them each in a 20 by 20 stall. Yes, they can rub noses with their buddy next to them, okay? But they will learn that when you walk off with their buddy, that even though they're walking up and down, and you sweat them down, they're going to get tired, they eventually get to see that it's not going to change a thing, okay? And one of my favorite ways is to help with the buddy sound. Again, you can't fix it, but you can train them so that their feet are standing still and that they are figuring to be straight. So this is what I do. I put the come along hitch on them, and I use small movements to start with. If they look to the right, I bump them. If the ear points to the right, I bump them. If a nose hair points to the right, you got the idea? Look for the small things that says the mule is about to leave you, okay? If the feet are already moving, you're too late. Your timing is off. That's the biggest problem. That's one of the biggest reasons that come-along rope doesn't stay on the nose good, because your timing is off. You make it too tight, too loose, too tight, too loose, too light, and on and on. Let's go back. So you got the mule standing still. You've already done 3, 6, 9, 12. You did 3 one day straight. You did 6 another day straight. You did 9 another day straight. Remember what I'm saying? They don't look to the right. They don't look to the left. The feet don't move. They're quiet, straight. And then you do 12 straight. Okay? Once you do 3, 6, 9, 12, then you take one of their buddies and have somebody walk him by. As soon as your mule looks toward that animal, you bump him. You make that other mule uncomfortable to look at. Got the idea? But you have to do it on the ground. It's going to improve your timing, And it's going to tell that mule you are not happy with him paying attention to that other mule and taking his mind off of you. But again, it's going to help your timing. Your timing is 99.9% of the problem with these animals. And why climb on their back? Why ride them? Anybody can ride for a short time, but spending time in the ER is no good. If you can't do it on the ground, don't get in the saddle. Okay? So you got the idea? You've done 3, 6, 9, 12, the mule being straight as a statue. You got his buddy goes to walk off. He goes to look at him, bump him. Remember, if he looks at him, it's too late. If a nose hair looks at him, fix it. Bump. A slight bump, an easy bump. By the time he looks over here, you're cranking on his head. It's not his fault. It's your fault. You see? Your timing. So that would be one of the ways that I would help you. Can you fix Buddy Sour? No. Can you fix yourself so that your timing will be correct when the animal does want to show Buddy Sour? You can fix it. Okay? Now, once you're on the ground and you get this mule to where no matter what this other mule's doing, no matter what he's doing, this mule stands still and quiet, just like this. Perfect, okay? Now we get in the saddle. We get in the saddle, now we're going to have my mule rider's martingale on there. And if the mule looks off to the right, bump him straight. Looks off the left, bump him straight. Straightness. If we build it on the ground first, when we get in the saddle and we go for straightness in the saddle, it's going to be easier because mules and donkeys all learn from their nose, not from the mouth, not from the bit. But you see, if you start at the very beginning and build straightness into the animal, you'll get it. Tom Dorrance, that'd be one of the favorite things he'd tell you. We want straightness in that animal. Straightness. Anybody can allow their feet to move. These trainers will say, oh, just keep going till their feet quit moving. Oh, yeah, do that at the Grand Canyon. See how that works, okay, for you. It looks really good out there in an arena, okay, but it don't work. Stillness, straightness, straight ahead is what we want to see. So that's how you're going to start with that. Now, here's the final thing. One more easy way to do it, kind of a lazy man way, but it'll do it. Adjust a rope halter where it's correct. Have your hitching rail. Put your mule in the center of the hitching rail, and I always snap a chain onto the halter. This is one of the only ways I'll use a halter. I got a couple different ways, but that's about it. Usually it's come along. And I put a rubber mat underneath them. If the mule looks to the right, it gets bumped with a knot on the nose. If he looks to the left, it gets bumped. You got the idea? So those knots are telling the animal to be straight. They pull back, bump them, straight. You see? So that's one way you can do it. You can put them in the center of the hitching rail, put the halter on them, and let them camp there. Okay? So there's a couple ways to fix your problems. Now, okay, everybody loves at the end of the day, kick back in that lazy boy and watch the stupidity on the boob tube. Yeah, I don't do that. Yeah. I'll watch a mule trainer up there on YouTube. Well, they call themselves mule trainers, but they're a horseman with a mule costume. They speak the word mule and everybody thinks they're a mule trainer. No. Okay, let's go back. The barn, the corral, and this sort of thing is their safe area. They get fed, watered, clean there. Life is good. They don't have to do a darn thing. But now take me out of the corral. I go from being a Republican to a Democrat. Wait a minute. You're supposed to be feeding me, watering me, cleaning my corrals, and I'm supposed to just be here and be pretty. That's not the way it's going to be. When I take you out and I put you on a hitching post and I start to brush you and you're moving around, guess what? We ain't going to go nowhere today. You're going to stand right there, and I'm not going to go anywhere until you quit moving. You may end up spending the night there, okay? You may only get water that night. That's it. But if you're moving around a lot and you're dinking around, you're at the hitching rail, you're at the trailer, and you're moving around a lot, don't move them. Get away from them, leave them there. Let them camp there. They will start thinking that, dang, being tied to this hitching rail is the best thing in the world. Being the best, okay? Got the idea? That is super important. Just like I left you last time, by putting them in the center of the hitching post with an adjusted rope halter makes all the difference in the world. Now, I just went out on a nice ride. My mule did pretty good. We went out probably 4 or 5 hours, enjoyable ride. I come back, I pull the saddle off, I comb them down a little bit, and I throw them in the ground, put feet on. Don't do that. You come back, you leave the saddle on, loosen up the cinches, pull off the bridle. If they were a knucklehead out there on the trail, you're going to tighten up those cinches, and you're going to make that hitching rail an uncomfortable place to be. Oh, wait a minute. When I get back, I'm going to don't take the saddle off. Leave it on there. Hey, you may leave it on there all day, as far as I'm concerned, maybe all night, maybe the next day. But they got to learn that when they come to that hitching rail, they are going to stand there and be quiet. Don't pull the saddle off right away, because all you're going to do is teach them to be even more barn sour. That's all you're doing. Okay, now, one of the ways I fix that is that way. Number one, I get to the hitching rail and I tighten up those cinches, and then I walk away. Go get me a glass of iced tea and sit there and watch him be a knucklehead. When he quiets down a little bit, I'll put my come-along hitch on him. I'll walk him over about 10, 15 foot away from the hitching rail. I'll loosen up the cinches. Loose cinches. That's what I've been looking for, because that makes me feel good. I come back over the hitching rail. I take the come-along off. I put my rope halter on. I tighten up them cinches. You see, what I done was I made that barn, i.e. the hitching rail, an uncomfortable place to be. You made it comfortable by hurrying up, pulling off the saddle, loosening up the cinches, and putting them in there to eat feed. Don't do that. When you go out, do this 3, 6, 9, 12. Remember, you got to keep those numbers in there. So you go out a second time, go out 10, 15 feet away from the hitching rail, loosen up the cinches. See, now out here, it's a good place to be. By the hitching post, oh man, I get to be uncomfortable. Now, will you change that later on? Yeah. But right now, we got to fix what somebody screwed up. Mostly maybe you, or maybe the people before you. Listen, just because you brought a trained mule, you got him trained to do what? Nobody's going to sell you a good mule. There are very few out there. Overpriced 99% of the time, okay? Mainly because people are treating them like a horse. That's what they're doing, okay? You can't do that. You got to take that horse mentality out. So there's 2 ways of doing it, okay? Don't get in a hurry to untie them and turn them loose out in the corral, out in the pasture. Don't do that. Did I say pasture? Yeah. I'm just testing you. No pastures. Only in the corral, okay? And that's what you want to do.
That's good. Folks, if you want more about Buddy Sour or Barn Sour, I put a link to a discussion, more content on this in the chat section. So you can check that out if that was your question, if that was your topic. There's more resources there. Steve, the next thing is we want to talk about trust building. Folks will say, I need to build trust with my mule or with my donkey. When they say they want to build trust, what are they really asking? And what's the cause for lack of trust? And how can we build trust? And I just want to give you a heads up. It's about 5:35 right now, and we've got a few more to get through. So I just want to give you that heads up, and we'll do our best to get through all of them. So trust, talk to us about that.
Everybody wants to be able to say, I can go up the trail, and your mule's going to take care of me, and everything's going to be fine. I can trust him to do that. Well, you have to build that foundation first. You can't just climb on him and say, okay, everything's good, and go out. Every day is a different day for Mr. Mule, okay? Every day is a different day. So here's what you got to do. You want to build trust? You get that come-along hitch, and you do all the come-along work that I've been telling you about. Dave just said he's got a program for you. Take the program that he's got for you, the master class, and use it, and use it, and use it, and use it. You cannot overdo the come-along rope, okay? You need to use the come-along rope consistently. The trust builds up in ask, tell, demand, comfortable, uncomfortable, okay? That's where it builds up the trust. You are rarely going to have it so that mule will pretty much go out there, take you out there, and bring you back without you having to do something about it. You have to be the one to rein them. steer them, break them, stop them, back them up, things like this. That's how you build the trust. When you do it lightly and evenly, that's how you build it. But it ain't going to be like a puppy dog. It ain't going to be like a dog. When I say to my dog, come here, come there, it ain't going to happen. You have to use that come along rope. And that's what's going to build your trust.
Awesome. Very good. Okay, next question. Folks are asking about farriers, farrier issues. They're concerned about safety when farrier work is being done. Some of them have had close calls. Some of them have even had injury. So they're looking for practical, safe methods that they can use regardless of their strength or experience. So what is the cause of these farrier problems? Maybe a bad attitude. They don't do great, like they're not prepared in between visits, or maybe there's some horse stuff that they're doing that the mule or donkey might be wired differently. So what are the cause of these farrier problems, and what's a direction we can head to start fixing them?
Today's farrier shoer is not like yesterday's farrier shoer like me. Like when I was up in this thing, we used to flip one upside down, tie all 4 feet to a post, tie it down, and then we could put the shoes on right there. They got tough with us. We got tough with them. The best thing you can do is get your come along rope on and pick up all 4 feet. Remember, there are buttons on the shoulder to pick up the front foot, on the hip to pick up the rear foot. The back foot, you always crank it forward first, straight back and over to the left. Horsemen inevitably always pick it up and go out. You got to uncock the hip of that mule or donkey. In that bone structure of your mule is a bone structure of a donkey. And that hip, you have to disconnect the hip. You have to, so when you bring it forward, that disconnects the hip, and then it goes straight back. That connects it where it's comfortable, and then off to the left. Then you can pick up the back foot correctly using the come along rope. Now, if you look at some of the pictures and videos that we have, I got clients that you could not pick up the mule's feet. You could not have a farrier near them. But they started working with the come along hitch and using all 4 feet. Remember, that come along hitch tells the mule's nose, and the nose is how they learn. That is good what you did by not bumping them, or that is not going to happen. You are not going to kick at me. You are not going to not refuse to pick up the foot, and you tell them by bumping their nose. They learn that this is comfortable and uncomfortable. When they don't do as you request, it's going to be uncomfortable. We've got some videos on picking up the feet. You can see one mule that he was bound determined he wasn't going to pick up his feet. And watch the end result using the come along rope, not tied to a hitching rail like everybody does. Do not tie to hitching rails or cross ties when you're shoeing. Have the come along rope out there. It'll be on the ground. As long as that come along rope's on there, that mule's going to say, all right, don't touch the come along rope. I'll pick up feet, do whatever you want. We got a lot of people able to do that. And we got some videos to help you out there.
Folks, just like the others, I've got more resources for you. In the comments section, I put 2 videos. One video is Steve showing the basics of picking up the foot. We recorded this down in just south of Tucson in Vail, Arizona. And it's a real short video, and it shows the ideal situation of pressing the button, picking up that front foot, uncocking the rear hip, picking up that back foot. But what happens if you've got a problem? And a lot of folks have problems with the rear feet, and that can be pretty dangerous. Well, I've got another video that I just put in the comment section, and it is about a 10-minute video of Steve really struggling with an animal that did not want to have that back foot messed with. And so you're going to see the come along rope. You're going to see him using a quirk as an extension of himself, and you're going to see him going from an animal that refused to an animal that not just complied, but had some willingness behind it. So if your concern, if your question was farrier issues, particularly in picking up the feet or being safe or techniques for getting them to work on it, all 3 of those are going to be covered in these 2 videos. And like Steve said, the come along rope is going to be your best friend because that is your direct line of communication. You want your timing to be good, but that's going to be your direct line of communication. Steve, the next concern that people have falls into this category of speed and motion control. Maybe he goes too fast. Maybe he goes too slow. Maybe he won't go at all. So, when you want to go fast and your mule wants to go slow, or when you want to start moving and your mule refuses to budge, it feels like you have what you want is a willing partnership, and that's the last thing that it feels like. And you're not just looking for compliance, you want a cooperative partner. So, what's the cause of these speed and motion control problems? Even just him going wherever he wants to go, and what would be the direction we would want to go in order to fix it. So now we're getting into the saddle here, probably maybe on the ground a little bit, but I know folks are mostly focused on in the saddle.
On the ground is where you're going to start with everything, folks, using the come along hitch. Remember, the donkey, the mule learns from their nose. So if you watch me in some of my videos, you'll see me walking fast, and then you'll see me wiggle the rope and then walk slowly with one foot up and then down, up. You'll see that, okay? But they learn from their nose. Imperative. You start out by doing circles, small circles to start with into bigger ones. And as you do that, 3 to the right, 3 to the left, quit. 3 to the left, 3, and then 3 to the left and 3 to the right, and then quit. Then the next day, those 3 plus 3 more and do 6. And each time, you're going to get better and better and walk faster and faster. Now, that starts from the ground, using their nose. Remember, their nose teaches them everything, okay? Now, from the saddle, it's imperative you ride with spurs. Imperative, okay? You get to where you don't hardly have to use them. All thing they got to know is they're there, okay? Now, you ask with your calf. You tail with the side of your stirrup. You demand with your spurs. You see, I don't use spurs right off the bat. So let's say I'm going to pick out a post on the other end of the arena. And I'm going to be in direct reining position, straightness. You heard me talk about straightness? Really important, straight. Between here, look at that post, and as we're going. My hands are in direct reining position as we're going. I'm going to use right brain, left brain. So when I start off, I'm going to use my right leg, then my left leg. My right leg, then my left leg. And as I do that, I'm going to drop my hands so that my mule has the pressure off of the bit and wants to go forward. If my mule, when I bump him with my legs, starts to pick up speed that I don't want, I bump with my hands, right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain, and go the speed I want. Now, as I want to pick up speed, I'm going to be using my legs. Right brain, left brain. So right brain go faster, left brain go faster. Once they start going the speed that you want, you sit down in a seat, you make your legs quiet, you keep your hands straight so the animal is straight, and go that speed that you want, okay? If you want to slow down, you sit in the seat, you roll your hands right and left, and you sit in the seat. Once they're going the speed that you want, you put your hands down, you sit up in the seat a little bit, and they go the speed that you want. See? It is your timing that is going to pick up the speed. It is imperative you use spurs. Now, what type of spur? All of my spurs are custom made, so I can't really say go to Joe Blow's and buy a pair of spurs, okay? You're going to need a spur that when you're on the animal, all you have to do is turn your heel and the spur touches. So you may have to have a 1-inch shank, or you may have to have a 3-inch shank, depending on how fat your mule is or how long-legged you are. Okay, that's going to have to match. Okay, and then get boots with spur heels on them so that the spur sets on the heel itself. Now, so that's how you use the speed. Now remember, you have to have the training ability and using the mule rider's martingale, because the martingale is going to set their nose and set their pole, okay, so that they're balanced. The top of the hip, top of the wither, top of the head, and the back end goes up underneath them. Most people are riding with half mule. The back is hollowed out, the head is elevated, and they're pulling off the front end. They're not dropping off the hindquarters. The mule must be balanced in order to be able to pick up speed.
I want to give the people a little bit of insight into what's happening end of September. Steve is going to be at the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival in Shelbyville, Tennessee, September 25th through the 28th. You can learn all about it at AmericanMuleandBluegrassFestival.com. And not only is this a great opportunity for you to get out there and enjoy mule and donkey training, but there is an opportunity for you to win.
They're going to win one awesome little mule. This little mule is just absolute. Marty's had several good mules. This little mule here is probably going to be one of the top. The money going for the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival, all this money, $10,000 is what we're going to try to earn, goes toward the packers who pack the food into the mountains where people couldn't get their food and water. They packed that stuff in. They didn't charge anybody, but they went in to help. When the government dropped the ball and wouldn't do it, we went in and did it. They did it. So we're trying to get $10,000 to put together. So my training there with everything that I do for you is free, not dime. All you got to do is pay $15 to get in. They have a free fish fry. We have Cowboy Church on Sunday, which I know the guy's going to be bringing a message. And it's a great show. I'm going to be there available the whole time. You can come and see me. You can ask me questions. You're going to see me work with a couple of donkeys, especially. You're going to see me work with a mule, but I'm free. Okay, there I am. We dropped the F-bomb on you.
Folks, Steve means it when he says it. You come out to Tennessee, you come and see him, and he's going to be available. He's making himself available, not only because he loves the mule and donkey community, but also because it's an incredible cause. So, Steve, with that, we want to go to the last one here. The final topic that we got so many questions about, so many people wanting to know, was the ground to saddle transition. Not only best practices, but timing. They want to maintain all of the work that they did on the ground, and they want to add the complexity of communicating from the saddle, all the saddle work. They want to stay the leader that the mule chooses to follow no matter where they are. And so what is going to cause problems when transitioning from the ground to the saddle? And then specifically, folks want to know about timing, age, how long after ground foundation training, when are they going to be ready, things like this. And I want to let you know it's 5:52. We've got one more big announcement as soon as we share this answer here. It's 5:52. Steve, help us with the ground to saddle transition.
Don't skip anything. That come along rope is imperative you use it. Once you've done your foundation training and you've done 3, 6, 9, 12, then you go out in the woods and you walk around stumps and things like that. And then you start surcingling. Surcingling, you use the halter. Surcingling with the mule rider's martingale. And then just the martingale and do the surcingle. And then you go from there with a saddle. And the saddle with a martingale or with a halter to start with in a pin. And then the saddle with the martingale. And then, you can also take, if you got another mule, you can take them out and pony them out through the woods and walk across stumps and all this stuff. Okay. All that's important. Now, here's the deal with timing. It's very, very important, folks, that you be in good shape. Okay. Because when you climb on this animal, you want to be able to make sure it walks off nice and quiet. But you want to not be in poor condition either. I have a video series, shows 5 people climbing on a mule. They've never been on a mule before, a colt mule. It shows 5 people, and that video is called Colt Starting, and it shows 5 people all climbing in the saddle. Now, somebody is going to be on the ground with the come along rope. You're going to be climbing in the saddle and setting there, coming off, getting down, climbing back up and getting on. You're going to do that 3, 6, 9, 12, different days. And you're not going to ride off, okay? Then finally, after you got up and down 12 times, then you're going to start making small circles. 3 to the left, 3 to the right. I'm done today. Small circles, 10-foot circles. And you build that up 3, 6, 9, 12. You hear that? You don't just climb in and ride off. You'll end up on the ground, okay? If that mule, you feel that mule is anywhere worried about what's going on, you always end on a good note. You want them to be just as calm when you end as when you begin. If the mule is starting to get worried because you put your foot in the stirrup, then take your foot out of the stirrup and bounce on that stirrup, left and right. You should be doing that. Watch that video series, and they'll help you out a lot. But and you'll see 5 different people, 5 different mules, and it's hard to say with every training foundation how it's going to go. Okay, but I'm going to tell you, if you do your ground foundation work right, and you've got a mule like this mule Rachel that they have there in Shelbyville, it's not easy. Okay, but yes, it can be if you do your groundwork right. So there's the overall basics of it. The 5 DVD set will help you out. Got to get it digitally, and you can watch 5 people who are not bronc riders, who have never been in a bronc before. You'll see them ride.
Remember at the beginning of the evening, I said our goal here is to make sure that you're not guessing where you need to go next. Whatever your problem is, you've got clarity and you can confidently move forward. And we've provided resources tonight, a little bit of instruction, a little bit of direction, and now you have that responsibility of going one step further. And so I told you that we were going to be announcing one more thing tonight. We have, it's been several years since we've come out with any new instructional DVDs. Of course, we've been putting stuff out on YouTube. Of course, we've had these webinars, but on the ground training instructional videos, it's been a while. And so, Steve, I want to end that tonight, and I want to let folks know that we are releasing the first in however many years, the first refined communication video with you and James Montana in Chino Valley, Arizona, which is just north of Prescott. And folks, Steve and I have used this instructional video bits and pieces here and there on YouTube. But right now, we are doing a pre-launch. This video comes out on Friday. Tonight, we are selling the pre-order for $29. It is regularly going to be $89. So it's a huge discount for the pre-order. I went with Steve. We filmed this in 4K, so it's ultra high def resolution. We mic'd up James, we mic'd up Steve, and this video takes you as close as any video instructional series we have ever gone. We cover the Mule Riders Martingale. We cover ground foundation training. We cover saddle. We cover surcingle. We cover bits. We cover almost anything that you can think of when it comes to that progression of owning that mule, getting just to the point of riding. And Steve, I'm going to let you talk about it here in a second. We're almost done, but I want to say one thing. When we went and watched James for the first time, Steve's standing right next to me. I'm watching James, and I looked over to Steve and I said, he's doing everything right. Why are we here? And Steve goes, I want to show you something. And Steve says, you've got the direction, you've got the behavior, you've got the techniques, but you're lacking refinement in your timing. You're lacking refinement in your communication. And that's where this video comes in real handy, is that it helps you not only with the techniques, but the refinement all along the way. I have one more announcement, but Steve, tell us real quick about the refined communication, this experience we have with James, and then I'm going to share one more thing. Tell folks how they can get it for free, but go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, so folks, this is kind of unique because this is a donkey. And don't just think, oh, it's a donkey, it won't touch me because I ride a mule, or I'm not riding I'm riding a standard donkey. No. Everything here is going to be, if you're a mule or a donkey owner, whatever size mule that you have, whatever size donkey that you have, everything I'm doing here is showing you the refinement, the little things that that normally you don't see, we were able to do in this video. And when Dave called me, he was all excited. He says, hey, we got to put together this John Montana thing. I'm so excited. It needs to sell for $197. And I said, what? What? He says, Steve, this is cool video. It's really nice. Now, this comes from a kid that's a city kid, okay, that don't know a whole lot, but he's been watching me all these years. And he says, I didn't really realize how cool this is and how you saw the details and helped him out. So there you are, folks. And I can't believe what Dave just said he's going to sell that for. And hey, you all know how much I love Dave and what he's done here. He's put together an awesome program tonight. And now he's getting ready to give you an awesome deal on video. Just all digital. We can't hardly get hard copies anymore. So it's going to be pretty much digital on about everything from now on.
Yeah, so this video series, it's going to be across, we're almost done with the edit, uploading it. It's going to be across probably 6 or 7 videos, might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, about 3.5 hours of real time, no edit. Of course, I'm going to have a start and a finish, but we're not chopping stuff out. You're going to see from start to finish each segment about 3.5 hours. We're going to separate it out there so you can watch the parts that you want to watch, but we're going to put it in the order that you're going to want to see. It's $29 on pre-order. I put a link in the chat. Wow. It's going to be $89. I subtitled it, so it's Refined Communication, Perfecting Your Timing and Technique, but I just had to add this in here. What to do when you do everything right and your mule is still getting it wrong, because I just thought James is doing everything right and he's still having problems. And that's where the perfecting your timing and your technique come in. It's that refined communication. And I want to tell you, if you're watching, you're saying, oh, refined communication. I almost didn't want to title it that because I didn't want anybody to think, oh, it's not for me. Here's the thing. You start with this, you jump to the front of the line. All of the videos that we've got are great, and you're going to appreciate all of them. But if you start with this video, all of a sudden you're giving yourself a head start that anybody up until this point has not had. And I really think you're going to find the benefit. So $29 pre-order. But what we're going to do is if you use it's just a little something extra because that's what we want to do here. If you use the code REFINED at checkout, and you have an order of $500 or more, we're going to include the video for free. I know it's a small thing, but it's something that we can do. We do everything we can to make things as affordable as possible, as accessible as possible, giving away as much free stuff as possible. And so if we can do just one more thing, and we can, we're going to do it. So if you put an order in of $500 or more, that's about the average order that a lot of them come in at, $500 or more, put in refined at the checkout. It's going to add it for free. And then when it is released, we're releasing it on Friday. So you're not going to have it immediately. This is the pre-order. We're releasing it on Friday. I'm going to send out an email. I'm going to tell you how to get it. And you can go ahead and get started. And I think you're really going to like it. Steve, I know that we are just over time. Anything that you want to say before we're all done here tonight?
No, hey, Dave, this has been an awesome webinar you've done here. You've gone over and aboard. Congratulations. I think everybody enjoyed it. I've been enjoying it. My goodness, it's been great. So, folks, look at this. This is refinement. And Dave hit the nail on the head because James was doing everything right, but he wasn't quite getting it there. And now you're going to see it, okay? And this is on donkey time, folks. That's a great thing about this. It's on donkey time. So, Dave, thanks a lot. Have a good evening.
God bless everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Refined communication for you, for your mule, for your donkey. Yes, the mule and the donkey. We hope you enjoyed the program tonight. And if there are any questions that you need some further clarification on, support@muleranch.com. I will be happy to help you. Thank you so much. God bless. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.